us. We speak excellence, we speak accuracy in this webinar. May it serve the purpose that we have planned it to serve, and may you take the glory at the end of.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Sarah. So welcome each. I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of the 54 guests so far and counting that are already on the call for our webinar this morning. And we are glad to have you here as the Uganda Securities Exchange Academy that is bringing you this particular webinar on why you should invest in shares. Before I can even get into our guests, we will be having a short game that we will be having just to run you through an agenda. We will have a short game that we'll be playing shortly after this. I'll be able to introduce our panelists for today. Then we shall go into our panelist discussion, and then we shall go into the Q&A session. And then we shall have remarks from the USE Academy by Sarah. And then we shall be able to close the meeting thereof, hopefully at the top of the hour, that is at 11 a.m. So for us that are here, I just wanted to, I'm going to briefly share something in the chat section. And that is a link to this particular, so it's a Mentimeter. It's something that is like a Q&A session, and I'm also going to share the screen right now to be able to share for those who can scan with their QR codes, and you'll be able to tell me if you're able to view it at the moment. But I'm also posting the link right now in the chat section, and I want you to, the link is there for those that are not able to use their QR code. But for those that can, I'm now going to share the screen, and we'll be able to see and confirm for me what you're seeing on the screen. Are you all able to see the screen that I've just shared? If Oscar, you could confirm for me. You're able to see. Okay, so we are going to get started. Those that cannot be able to scan, I have posted a link in the chat section. And this is basically for us to know, to have knowledge. If for those who are able to, we want to get our knowledge levels, want to know, do we have beginners? Do we have those that already know? So that's the main idea. So right now I am starting the presentation, and for those that can use that are using their laptops, I can see already people are giving me answers. There are those that are, so the first question is that what is the first word that comes to mind when you hear investing in shares? Investing in shares. Some people are saying interest, others are saying growth, capital, owning a company. Wow, passive income, returns. Some are saying gains. Others are saying dividends. Others are saying returns again. Ownership is also coming through. Growth. Yeah. Someone is saying investing in companies. Capital, wealth. Wow. Thank you for all those responses. Wealth is also coming up again. Growth and ownership. Then someone is saying the future. Yes. So, well, thank you for all those responses, and they're coming through. So we're going to the next question. And the next question is there, have you invested in shares before? Have you ever invested in shares before? Yes. The majority have invested in shares before. One person hasn't invested before. A person is planning to. Yeah, so the number of also people that have not invested before in shares are also increasing. Even the people that are planning to are also increasing. Well, yes, so let's go to the next question. Which of these best describes your current financial habits? Are you saving in a bank? Are you saving in a through a circle? Are you part of an investment club? Or you say, I do not actively save or invest. Where are you at? Mm-hmm. Keep those responses coming. Uh, People are saying that they invest through a circle. Some are saying actually the majority are saving through a bank and a circle. Majority are saying they are part now of an investment club. No, many of us are an investment. The majority of us are saving through investment clubs and circles. Wow. Keep those responses coming. Yes. Yes. So clearly, there are very many people here that have their money in an investment club and a circle. And then also there are those that have their money in the bank. Yeah. And then what does owning a share in a company mean? Does it mean that it's a loan to the company? Does it mean that it's you own part of a company, that you work for the company, that you manage the company? What does that mean? Many of us are saying that it means owning a company. Yeah. So that's awesome. That's a good response. We go on to the next. What are the two main ways investors make money from shares? What do you think are the two main ways? Do we do it through the salary and bonuses, dividends and price increase, loans and interest, savings and deposits? What is it? Yeah, the majority of us are saying that it's dividend and price increase, the main two main ways we are making money. Okay, some people are saying loan and interest. Yeah, okay. Go to the next slide. Do you use services from MTN Uganda? How many of us are using services? Is it daily, occasionally, rarely, not at all? Mm. over 20 people are saying that for them it's daily use. Two people are saying not at all. About five are saying occasionally. Yeah. Wow. So the majority of the people keep those responses coming. Yes, they're coming through. So the majority of us are using services from MTN Uganda. And then would you consider owning shares in a company you use every day? Would you consider? Someone is saying maybe. A majority are saying yes, that they would consider owning shares in a company they use every day. Well, the majority are saying yes. At least no one is saying no for now. Yeah, that's good. So what is the biggest reason you have not invested in shares yet? What's the biggest reason you've not invested in shares yet? You can just put any answer. Why haven't you invested? For those that have not invested, someone is saying lack of information. Volatility of the economy. Someone is saying CV money, insufficient knowledge, understanding the markets, low risk appetite. Another person is saying lack of the know-how, not yet convinced. Some people are not yet convinced that they should invest. Then fear. Some people are saying low risk appetite, uncertainty. Yeah. Lack of enough knowledge, not even research, and not enough research on the company. Yeah. Then someone is saying low returns generally. Yeah. Then someone is also saying, I do not know where to start. Then there is lack of money. Yeah, lack of money. Then someone is saying, I want to expand to Uganda. So that means this is a person that probably doesn't live in Uganda or is not a national here. That is saying that for them, they want to also get into the Ugandan market. Info, that's why I'm here. Me, I've come for information. Then someone is saying lack of access to markets. Yeah, yeah. Then someone is saying farms are not stable. Yeah, that's their reason. So very many reasons, and these are very valid reasons. So for our moderators, please, for our panelists, please keep note as you are sharing this morning. You have to keep all these reasons in mind, so that we know how to address this in the minds of our listeners today. So what is your biggest concern about investing in shares? Is it that you do not have money, or you don't understand how it works, or you are afraid of losing money and you do not know where to start? The majority are saying we do not understand how it works. People who do not understand how it works are the majority. And today we have Christine and Nicholas that are going to really, really, really be able to share with us on that. So the majority don't understand how it works. So that comes to the end of our presentation. And thank you all for participating. We are now over 112 people on the call, and we are glad to have you all, our listeners. And what we just had briefly was the Mentimeter game, and that is mainly just to gauge our listeners to know where are they coming from, what levels are they at, so that when our panelists are answering questions, they are really breaking it down for everyone to be able to understand. So our panelists indeed know the people they are dealing with now. So I'll now just go straight into introduction of our panelists, and I'll just give me 1 minute. Yes. So my colleague had just come to pass on some communication. So we'll go straight into introduction of our panelists. So on the call, we have Mr. Chimuli Musazi Nicholas. He's the institutional sales and trading manager at SBG Securities Uganda Limited. And for him, he's an active trader, and he has always been a trader all his life, and he is right there. You can see him. One special thing about Chimuli, Chimuli was my first manager. Yeah, he was my first boss. He's the one who has showed me the ropes of operations in the market, and so I am glad that I've taken after him. Chimuli, glad to have you here. So this man has traded not just for people in Uganda, but also institutions abroad. So that's why you see his that institutional title is on him, because they are the ones that bring in the big monies that are coming into the economy. Then the next one is Christine Nkundizana as well from Cheaper Cash Technologies. She's the lead brokerage manager, but also at the heart of Christine, she is a trader as well. And she was also, I must say, finally also trained under Chimuli as well, Nicholas. So we all have one thing, actually, the one thing in common with all the people today here is that we have all worked closely before together in a firm called Crested Capital. So we really are glad to be here, but we have now been dispersed all over the market. So Christine does handle trading at Cheaper, and for every institutional or retail investor that really wants to be able to trade and invest, please, Christine can be able to also guide you as well. Then we have Emaso Oscar Paul. He's the Manager Investor Relations, MTN Uganda. And we are glad to have Emasu, and he's also at heart, more than just being a manager, at heart, Oscar is an analyst, and that is what really drives him on a day-to-day. I've also had the special privilege of also working with him as well closely on different transactions over the years. And specifically why Oscar is here from MTN Uganda is because for all our webinars that we will be having in the future, especially in the equities space, is that we want to focus all the different listed companies. So we felt that we will begin with MTN Uganda. They were available, and so for the next webinars, you'll be having also other companies, Airtel Uganda, you'll be having UCL, all the different players will be on here to be able to share. And so we are glad to have MTN Uganda. Also, I believe listening is also Amanda, also works closely with Oscar, and so we are glad to have them both here. for our session today. So we shall get straight into it. Oscar, Christine, and Nicholas, you were able to hear our viewers from that game that we just played, and they really want to know. And to start off, I'll start off with Nicholas, and people want to know, if I have never invested before, how would you simply explain what it means to own a share in a company? I'm here, I'm a first-time person. I've been hearing about shares. We see these things going up and down. People always keep the news channel, the business channel when it comes up. What is a share in the simplest way for our listeners to understand this morning?
Okay, good morning, team. Nice having you here, and thanks for sparing your time on a working day to join the call. As introduced earlier, I'm Chimuli Msazi Nicholas, institutional trader, SBG Securities, part of Standard Bank Group. In the teasers that you circulated, I happen to see that most of the people on the call have a hint. But because it's a short time, I will try to summarize it. To a new person joining the market or intending to come and join the market, what we have listed on Uganda's stock market are shares, ordinary shares. I know academically you might have studied about preferential shares and all other types, but we have ordinary shares listed on the Uganda Stock Exchange. As dealers, we deal with only shares listed on the stock market. Yes, a share is a unit of ownership into a company or an organization or an institution. However, if it is there are shares even in private companies, shares in your own circle, but what we are trending on now, what we are transacting on are shares listed on the stock market. They go through a lot of sieving. These companies go through a lot of sieving to be listed on the market. And what I would say is our regulators they make sure they don't bring dead stock, or they don't bring a company that is closing tomorrow. Huge companies like MTN, you know what they do and how profitable they are over the years. To get involved into buying shares in this stock, one, you need to, first of all, get a stockbroker. You don't meet anyone on the street and they tell you, I'm a broker. Yes, there are different brokers, land brokers, house brokers, but these are professional firms. There are only 5 now which can trade on Uganda's stock market. You approach them. That is one. Two, you open an SCD account, or a Securities Central Depository account, through those brokers. However, with the advent of technology, Oscar will chip into that. On their platform, MTN, you can as well open an SCD account and you can transact or buy shares using that technology without specifically coming to any of our offices. But to own shares, basically, step one, you get to identify a broker. Two, you open an SCD account. That is an account where shares will sit when you buy them. I usually tell old stories as an old man that in the old days you would buy shares and receive a share certificate. We are going away from that. So to own shares, you must, one, identify a broker, have an SCD account, and then get to know what you are buying into, which company. Now, that is where the Oscars come in, the analysts, plus the brokers, to give you view of which stock should you buy, when is the best you should buy it. But to wrap it up, when you're buying a share, you're buying into that company. You're becoming part owner of that company. What differs is the amount of shares you buy. Yeah, as we go along, my colleagues may talk about it, but there are big shareholders and there are small shareholders. But of course, it's usually when you come in to vote, it is one man, one vote in the deliberations of companies, as Oscar will allude to. And as we go along, people will tell you about the benefits and what the guidances of and rights of shareholders. I think in the short
Thank
time, that's all I would wrap up to
yes.
as an
Thank
intro on how to come into shares.
Yes, thank you so much, Nicholas. Indeed, yeah. Share is part ownership in a company, and it's very critical that all of us know that if you're for those that say that they already have shares, they do know that actually they do own a company, and they have been as shareholders they have been invited to certain events, like for example the AGMs. For Christine, I believe because at your heart, you're very core, you're a manager overseeing trading in cheaper technologies, but at the heart, you're a trader. And I'm sure that you also own stock yourself. What first personally got you interested in investing in shares? You know, there are very many people who work at jobs, and they even never take up the products or even never get to, get interest in the things that they sell, but they sell to others. But for you, you really have taken it up and you own several stocks in various companies. What really interested you in really setting out to buy shares in the various companies that you do own? Christine. Christine, we're not able to hear you if you're speaking.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Thank you, Susan, and good
Mm.
morning, dear listeners. Should I say that I knew shares from the time I was born?
Mm.
Anyway, that is not true. My interest honestly started when I was at the university in a lecture, finance lecture. Lecturer had said it looked like a logical math problem about how wealth is created with these so-called shares, ordinary, preferential, etc. And also the shares they shared with, the stories they shared with us were for the rich. You know, let's say the rich in Uganda, you can mention them that own the elite, everyone like that, had money. But everything changed the day I stepped in a brokerage firm, being my first job. I saw real people consistently buying small units of a company, great companies like MTN. That's when I started getting interested and being provoked in seeing how does this actually happen. That's when it all made sense. And I saw that the stock market or buying shares in a company like MTN or any other, big company, it wasn't a closed club for the elite. It was an open door for everyone. Me, who was starting out to work just straight from the university, anyone who was a salary earner, even a minor, and the rich as well. So what really changed for me was realizing that you don't need a PhD to start, really. All you need is have a seat at the table, and that seat is owning a few shares or a few units in a company. So my perspective shifted from being a student of finance to being an advocate for a new investor, for wealth creating, irrespective of who you are, because of that simplicity that it involves in. With my phone, I can actually buy shares wherever I am. I don't have to work in an office like Chimli has mentioned. And also the actual conversion of money into wealth.
Yes.
Yes, so and the rights of an investor. So I realized that as a shareholder in a company, I have quite a number of rights. I am entitled to a dividend. I am entitled to go to an AGM, vote and vote out a director, something like that. And it was quite interesting. Yeah, so that is basically what got me interested in investing in shares in the first place.
Yes. Thank you so much, Christine. Indeed, just like Christine mentioned, we came into the market. I also had prior knowledge about shares. I think that was 2012. When I was at my campus, I really wanted to work in the share market because I couldn't be a forensic scientist. So I said, you know what, this is where I would want to be. And I remember I really wanted to get Umeme shares, and I was telling my dad about it, even when I didn't understand it all together. But I knew that getting a piece of umeme was key. But I'm grateful that years later, I'm also able to say that I'm also a proud owner, also specifically for this MTN counter as well. So when you look at going to Oscar, every day millions of Ugandans are using your services. I mean, Momo. Even right now, I just did a Momo transaction this morning. There is that investor feature that you have. So at 9 a.m., there is something that is getting off my phone. So every day people are using your services. What does it mean to own part of your company? What does it mean for a person to come and say that I'm buying MTN Uganda shares? What does it mean to own a piece of your company? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Susan,
Mm.
and a very good day to all of you joining us today in this wonderful call. Susan, to understand what it means when you invest in a company like MTN, you need to look at it from a perspective of how it has become a lifestyle for so many people. In Uganda alone, we are counting more than 24 million people and about 300 million across Africa. And the impact that a company of this size creates is tangible for everyone. When you look at things like how we connect families, how we are digitally including rural communities, students, financial inclusion, enabling different everyday, activities through our different products and our services. You just mentioned Investor, which is a product we launched last year to help people actually invest at the tip of their at their funds. MTN's impact even goes beyond that alone to as a digital partner for government through revenue collection and being one of the largest taxpayers. In fact, last year we paid more than 1.6 trillion in taxes, and that money is being used in different development priorities across the country to fund public services. If you know around May, June, we usually have what we call MTN Yellow Care. But specifically through our foundation, over the years since its inception, we've invested more than 35 billion across health, education, economic empowerment, and if you saw in our publication last year alone, we did invest about 5 billion shillings into those three key areas, impacting more than 24 people. So owning a company like MTN converts your everyday connectivity into being a real owner. And it means also you are part of creating what here we call shared value, and be part of our belief to give the benefit of a modern connected life to everyone. So that is what it really means for someone to own a piece of a company like MTN. It is owning, being a part of transformation, being a part of creating impact, being it doesn't just stop at the financial returns.
Yes. Well, yes, definitely. It doesn't stop at the financial returns. And I remember back in 2021 when we did the IPO, there was really, we were really driving people, come and buy the share because this was a wholesome company. And at the time, people shied away. And but still, we got as many people on board. Then come 2023, I think even people were looking for shares, and we had over that 230% subscription of the balance sales. So it just goes to show that people have now over the years come to understand and actually share. People are always asking, can we have more of the company? Because definitely we have seen growth. I keep on telling investors that if a company can pay its taxes well, that means it can pay itself well. So that means if it's going to pay itself well, that means you have to benefit from that overall payment. And so we want to thank MTN Uganda. So if you look at their growth since 2021, I think as at last year, 3.6 trillion is what they have generated in revenue. revenue, and that has also definitely also had an impact on the payments out to shareholders. And definitely now we'll go to Chimoli just to tell us the benefits, what are those benefits that investors do enjoy from financially committing themselves to be shareholders in these companies. For example, like MTN, why would someone come, and what will be that main reason of how they make money on this particular market? Yeah.
Thank you, Susan.
Mm.
In the teaser that you shared, I saw we have a mixed audience. Some
Yes.
know why they would invest in shares.
Yes.
Quick fixes or quick wins are everyone knows once you invest in a company like MTN, they are making money year in, year out. It means when they make profits, they share with the stakeholders who are the shareholders. They share dividends. At the last AGM, I saw and I had management announcing that they will be paying 4 times a year. They have been paying dividends 3 quarters, that is every 3 months. They've changed. They are now paying 4 times in a year. It means you don't have to wait for the entire year to get a return. That would be one of the reasons why an everyday Ugandan would invest in shares. I used to have in the African setting, we used to have a joke that no one invests in a cemetery, because in the olden days, cemeteries were free. It's just free for you. Go and you get buried, and that's it. No return. Of course, recently things are changing. They are becoming profitable, but shares are a profitable thing. The companies make revenue and give you a dividend. And some companies never make losses. We used to have Umeme and currently MTN, because it's pay as you go.
Yes.
Yeah, you either pay or you. So that is one of the ways of getting dividends. Then capital gains. This is usually, even other speakers will talk about it. You buy a share at a certain price, it can appreciate. I know Oscar in his sessions will talk about it as an analyst. He'll give you scenarios and practicalities of MTN and how it has evolved. Personally, we happen as SBG to have been part of the transaction. We are the lead transaction advisors for the MTN IPO or initial public offer. So to a layman, capital gains, you buy low, sell high. My colleagues will go deep into that. But I want to go beyond the elementary things that are known in the book. I've seen people getting dividends. Someone will tell you about what are the minimum shares in the course of the discussion and the minimum cost. However, I've seen people get dividends, prizes at AGMs which are bigger than their portfolio holding. Yeah. Oscar, you surprised us with the power bank, which is more than at least 50, 60 plus thousand. People will talk about that, but those are some of the gains which are not textbook gains. At the AGMs, usually these shareholders are supposed to attend AGMs. So beyond the textbook communication, there are some key brains. You get knowledge in the networking at the AGMs. You find the chairman of MTN Group. Most of the people read about him in books and how he has evolved but you get practical hands-on and a chance of meeting such people, and you get the knowledge and the cream of how they have made it. That is again you won't find in the textbooks. And lastly, when I talk about the current environment, we're all crying. The oil prices are running up. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. How are we going to survive? The trade order is distracting things. If you buy shares in a company like MTN with your hard-earned money, the trade order will not find you anywhere, because you won't have a stall. Your ownership will be in shares. So there will be no stall to raise by the authorities. And maybe lastly, Susan, I was reading a lot of books in my younger days.
Yes, Nicholas. Nicholas, we have lost you. Hello, Nicholas? I think he has gotten off. He'll be back shortly. But as we wait for him to return, we can go to you, Christine. So for Christine, for someone, we in during our earlier discussion, what we were able to, the game that we were able to play, the quiz that we had, many people say that they do have their money saved away in an investment club and SACCO. Actually, that was the majority of the number. And we want to, people are saving their money in SACCOs and investment clubs, which is good because they also do get returns on that side. But why should someone that is already also locked away in these types of savings schemes also consider buying shares, converting some of the money that they have saved away and converting it into shares? What do you think why do you think they should be able to do that? Christine?
Thank you, Susan. I hope I am audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, actually, I saw someone who said they are saving in a box, in an actual wooden box. That was Sheila, if I'm not mistaken. I even remembered her name. So that's a brilliant question, because SACCOs and investment clubs are great for discipline in saving. They are great in having access to credit. Like any other SACCOs and investment club, you save, you're able to access credit, maybe on a cheap or a lower interest rate. But here is why shares are the necessary next step for this person's portfolio. We are not saying that you stop investing in your club or in your SACCO. But we are saying, look here, there's what we call diversification. There's a proverb that says, do not put your eggs in the same in one basket. So most circles invest, okay, from my knowledge, most circles and clubs invest in real estate and maybe government bonds. But also buying shares, let's say in MTN, for example, we're going to use it today as an example. Buying shares in a telecom company like MTN, you are diversifying your investments. Let's say you're diversifying from real estate, you're diversifying from, okay, bonds and treasury bills. Let's say if maybe the property sector is slowing down, your shares might be soaring. If we have, like we have seen, if someone invested in MTN from the IPO time, their investment has more than doubled. This is not something the your SACCO investment or your SACCO saving can easily achieve for you. So we look at SACCOs and clubs as more of a safety net for your saving, but shares as more of a growth engine. So while SACCOs provide stability and loans, shares usually offer an upside down that SACCOs might not match. Like Chimli has said, there's capital appreciation. We've seen Stanbic price more than double from the time they came out through the initial public offer. I actually have an example of a friend of mine, a former colleague. I'd been interesting them to buy shares. He said, no. He made me do all the analysis for the listed stocks and he never bought. I was very disappointed until MTN came. He gave me 95 million. I'm telling you, he sold early this year. He got more than 215 million. He went and cleared, what do we call, he had a burden. And when he cleared it, he told me, Christine, I am the greatest free man on earth. So I am not sure if he had been saving in a SACCO, he would have more than doubled his investment. Also, the other thing maybe we can talk about is dividends. Chimli has already explained dividends. So you can have a passive check, year in, year out, quarter in, quarter out. So we are not saying stop investing in your SACCOs and clubs, but diversify, see capital appreciation, see how you can get a quarterly check. Like Chimli mentioned, MTN, for example, is going to start giving dividends quarterly. They've been giving 3 times a year. So that is a good way to start really investing in shares. If you've been investing in your investment club and SACCOs and even in your boxes, it is as cheap as we will share as we go along this conversation. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you so much, Christine. Yes, indeed. please, let's not keep that money in our savings. I know some of us, yes, have said, you know what, let's lock it away in bonds, let's lock it away in unit trust, let's lock it away in any sort of, small box that we are tucking away. But yet, as we are taking away that money, we also are not getting as much return as we would want to. Yes, shares are the risky side of the business, but however, they also have the largest growth area, like Christine has just shared. And maybe for Nicholas, just as a trader that has been trading, and glad to have you back, Nicholas. Sorry for that technical glitch earlier. But just to jump on what Christine has just shared, she has definitely been able to share that, some of us can be able to take out some money that we have in our savings and bring it onto the side and be able to invest it in the market on the USE in shares. So just to pose for you a question, which is a realistic question, and we do not want to paint that it's all flowers and roses, and you have been trading for over 15 plus years. What are the major risks that our investors will be facing once they get into investing in the share market? What are those risks that they're likely to face as they come into our market? Nicholas, over to you.
Thank you, Susan. As I mentioned earlier in my introduction, we are a regulated market in industry, and we are 5 stockbrokers. We are licensed by the Capital Markets Authority and regulated by Capital Markets Authority, and we are licensed. So it's a regulated market. Speaking into that, it gives you the depth of how professional we are supposed to be. And among the regulations is when we are bringing in investors, we must tell them the upside and the downside. In the stock market, you can make money by buying low, selling high, in addition to dividends. But you can as well lose money if you don't get the correct advice. To our beginners, the best time to get into the stock is when it's at its low. So most investors, when the stock goes low, they come out rushing to sell. Yet others look at the peak when it is riding all the way up, they come in to buy. So it's usually best to buy when it is at the low and sell at the high. The question will be, how do I know where the low is and where the high is? With our history, experience, instincts, and research, we can always predict and advise you when you come to us. Maybe if I went off, I was saying the books I've been reading, one ardent investor, Warren Buffett, says the best time to make money is when there is blood on the streets. That is the term he uses. But usually when the stock is down, that is the best time to come in than waiting to come at the peak and then crash with it. And the quote I was giving earlier was to the investors is, if you don't let your money work for you, you will work until you die. But when you have shares, you can, as the Oscars, we buy ordinary shares, we become owners of the company. The Oscars go and work for us every day while we're in our bed sleeping. They go and work for us to make sure us as shareholders get a return. And at the AGM, we hold them accountable. So people, when you're talking about the benefits of investing in shares, that is the point I was trying to drive home. If you don't want to work until you die, then invest in shares. Other people will work for you and you wait for AGMs and dividends. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you so much. Indeed, Chimuli, you remind me very many investors, and I don't know if it's in our nature here. When the stock is down, no one is even paying attention. In fact, people are saying the stock is bad, even they will come and sell, and no one is bothered. But now when the stock starts to go up, then you start finding people rallying and bringing in money to buy, and then you're thinking, you've been seated with the money, and you've just been waiting that let it perform a bit and then I buy. And yet, like Chimuli has said, that when it's down and everyone is talking negatively about it, that is actually the right time to buy, especially when the fundamentals, that is fundamentals meaning that the company is still a going concern, they are still producing, they are still having impact, they have a growth strategy. That is actually a good time to buy. Just to take an example with MTN, there's a time when the stock had gone down and people were not buying, but now it's at 420. People are looking for shares and we even can't get them in the market. We find that we are stuck with orders just because now we do not have supply. And the sellers also don't want to sell because they're also thinking we can get a better price in the future. The same we have seen on stocks like Stanbic. So our investors, when you come into our market, do not be greedy. And also do not be procrastinators. Just ensure come in and be able to partake of the benefits that are there. And Oscar, back to you. I invested in MTN in 2021, isn't it? Personally, I was also one of those investors. And today the stock has even gone up to 470 at one point, and now we're at 420, stabilizing there. If I invested £1 million at IPO, give me a picture of how much I should have earned by now, because our listeners want a practical thing. They want to know that, yes, I put in this much, I gained this much. What is the return, the overall return, looking at dividends and all the things? If you could briefly just shed some light on that. Yeah.
Thank you, Susan. Christine has set a very high bar for an example of how much someone invested at the IPO. But for someone who invested at the IPO, I think it's important to look at the value in three ways, in addition to the different value aspects that Mr. Chimuli talked about, Christine talked about. So for MTN, the first would look at the IPO advantage. If you recall, at the IPO, the offer price was 200 shillings per share. Okay. So 200 shillings per share, if we look at rough mathematics, if you had your 100 million, your 1 million, it would give you about 5,000 shares. Okay. Now, it didn't stop there. The company went ahead to give bonus shares, additional bonus shares on top of what you had applied for. Okay, so that means for someone who had a million shillings and you applied for 500 shares, you got instantly a bonus of 500 shares. Okay, so that means you ended up with 5,500 shares in total. Okay, from someone who would have gotten just 5,000. So effectively, already at that point, you have even gotten a discount. Okay, so it means effectively, the 5,500 shares, you actually bought them at about 180 shillings. So that's an immediate discount of about 10%. So then the second level is during the time that you have had these shares, okay, as a shareholder, you have qualified for dividends throughout the time. And I'm proud to say that MTN is one of those companies that have paid dividends consistently and incrementally. If you recall, the very first time we paid dividends, we paid 4.706 shillings a share. And the last payment we made was about 8.25 shillings a share. So the value we have paid has grown incrementally. If you look at the 13 dividends we've paid in total since IPO, it's when you add it all up together on a dividend per share basis, it's about 89 shillings per share. So in total, for someone who had a million at the time, that's more than 400,000. Okay, so that 400,000 already, it means that you have earned almost half of your initial investment of 1 million. Okay. So then the third angle you can look at it is at a valuation level. So the value of your shares 5 years ago was 1 million shillings, right? Based on the price at which you bought and the number of shares you got, it was 1 million shillings. Like I think I had, it must have been Chumuli who said, the market price today is 420 shillings per share.
Mm.
So those 5,500 shillings that you have, if you didn't sell a single one of them, they are now worth 2.1 million shillings. So that means if you decide to go to one of the brokers, if your broker was Crested Capital, if your broker was SBG, if your broker was Diane Blair, if your broker was UAP, if your broker was cheaper, you would go and sell your shares today at 420 shillings for every share. Remember, you bought at 200, effectively 180. Okay, so that's a gain of already almost 1 million, more than 1 million, actually 1.1 million in capital gains, which is more than 100% in return. So you look at it in those three angles. The first is the advantage you got because you got an IPO and you got a discount at IPO. The second is the dividends you've earned incrementally since IPO. Okay, the 13 times we paid, and then the value of your shares today. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And also maybe just to add to Oscar, any money that you make on the market, that's capital gains for those that want to sell their shares and would want to sell their shares. That money is going to be clean money without any tax. And we thank God that the taxman has not yet looked our way, isn't it? So we do not have CGT. Yeah, we don't have capital gains tax. So all your earnings, the 1.1, all the 2.1 million, as you get it, of course, the brokers will have a commission because the entire market has to take a commission of 2.1%. But after that, all the other money is remitted to your account. Yeah, so I believe for every, yes, Oscar?
Susan, sorry, go on, but just to add, an important update for our shareholders is that,
Yes.
I think Christine mentioned, last year our board approved a transition on how we pay dividends. Previously, we paid dividends in 3 periods. But from this year going forward, the dividend payments have been moved to quarterly payment cycles. So that means for our shareholders, for the new potential shareholders who are on this call, you would expect a payment in April based on our Q4 results, which we publish around March. You would expect a second payment in June, which is based on our Q1 results. You would expect a third payment in September, which is based on our half-year performance, Q2 results. And then you would expect the fourth in December, which is based on our Q3 results. So previously we paid 3 times, but now we move to quarterly to increase also the predictability for our shareholders.
Yes. Thank you so much, Oscar. And I also can confirm that I received my payment 2 weeks ago. Yes. So, and I received it by Momo. So we are not, don't worry for those who are saying that the payment need to go through the bank. No, we are being paid by Momo and we are getting our money and I was able to receive it. I can comfortably confirm. So thank you so much. Maybe just now to go to Chimuli Technology. We are talking about how we are being paid by Momo, isn't it? That is MTN Uganda is paying largely their investors backed by Momo. But how does someone start the journey of investing on the market using their phone? Because people do not want to come to our offices. Some of us, our offices are on the 5th, 6th, 7th floor. Some of us, we will need a border ride to be able to get to us. So how can people comfortably invest using their phones without necessarily coming to the office of any broker?
Thank you, Susan. I'll start with besides the traditional way of clients depositing money with the broker and routing an instruction order via email. At the inception and listing of MTN, together with Standard Bank, MTN crafted a way of using the mobile money USSD code or even the app to buy shares. You can, first of all, his initiation was, we intended to cover the whole country for people to participate in the transaction of MTN without coming to offices, because we wanted to cover the whole country. And we were only 4 or 5 brokers based in Kampala. So what we did was, with MTN, wrote a code that was used at the IPO, *165*65 hash. *165*65 hash. Oscar will keep me honest because that is his docket, but that is a code even if you have Mapesa, call it USSD code.
Yeah.
Or it's the Mapesa phone, you can open your SCD account as long as you have a national ID using that app. *165*65 hash, then you follow the prompts. The same can apply when you want to buy shares. You load money on your phone, click the same code, and it will give you *165*65 hash, and it will give you an option of buying shares. That is without coming to office. However, the exchange also didn't want to remain behind on the technology drive. They invented the Easy Portal, the USE Easy Portal. When you go on the website, you can easily see it. Once you have an SCD account, you link your account to Easy Portal. I think, Susan, that is your docket. You will help the team with the details, and that way you can route your order through the USE online system, and the order comes straight to the broker's platform. So when it goes to the trader's platform, the trader checks for authenticity and everything, availability of money. Of course, in most cases, the money will have been routed to the broker. They enhance KYC, and the order is routed to the market without necessarily the investor coming to office.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. Indeed, that is, in fact, even someone in the chat section said that today they tried purchasing some more shares using their Momo app, and they even found the price of MTN reflecting 422 shillings per share. So I believe there are already people that are already using. Then we also have the Easy Portal, as Chimli has been able to reiterate that also the Uganda Securities Exchange has the Easy Portal, and it's a web-based online platform whereby our investors are able to view their holdings, the ones that they buy either through the bank platform, or even they are able to buy through the Momo platform. So you're able to reflect all your shares, all your assets that you have, not just MTN shares, but everything that you do have. Then also they are investors that actually already even have relationships with even more than one broker. So you'll find that an investor has a relationship with maybe say SPG Securities and OMIG, which is former UAP, or even with Crested Capital. And then you'll find that even in that Easy Portal account, you're able to see with which broker do you have which shares, because you find maybe I bought some shares with MTN with Stanbic, maybe I bought Umeme with SPG Securities. So the investor is able to see the holistic holding that they have with the different brokers. And so if you go also on your MTN Momo menu and you're trying to buy shares, and you do select, for those that have multiple brokers, you'll find that even it will give you an option to select which particular broker you're going to buy the shares through. So it's also important for our investors to always remember, who did I buy my shares through? And that is why you have the Easy Portal, and we are going to just drop the link in there. For those that have never activated their Easy Portal account, today is the day that you get to log in for the very first time. You will even receive an OTP, a one-time password, to be able to log in. For those that, of course, I've also seen in the chat section, some people are already requesting for an app because it would be easier for them. That is something that will be released later, maybe in the better half of this year. It's an app that is currently being finished. It's being up and it will be uploaded. And so the Easy Portal will not just be web-based, but now it will be app-based. So as we come to the conclusion of our webinar, I just want one quick answer from all our panelists, and just to answer to our listeners, and just to share with them that for those, what is the one thing that you would want people to take away from today so that they can be able to start on their investment journey? What is that one thing that you want them to remember so that they can get started? Because very many people attend webinars and they do not and they do not respond, they do not act. So they continue, some of them are consuming knowledge but never get to act upon it. So what is that one thing that you want them to hold on that will now drive them to be able to start investing today? We'll start with Christine, then go to Oscar, then Nicholas will be last, and then we shall have some questions, and then we'll call it a day. Yeah. Christine, over
Thank
to
you,
you.
Susan. Thank you. I think I have like a minute or less. So what would I implore someone here on the webinar to do? Start right now. It is as simple as you have described on your phone, on Easy Portal, everywhere where you are, you can do that. And the minimum shares is just 100 shares in any stock. That's our minimum. Though we encourage people to actually build their portfolio from that, but the minimum is just 100 shares times the price. For example, MTN, it's at 420. 100 shares times 420, that is 42,000 plus the commission Susan mentioned, which is standard, 2.1%. That's about 43,000, honestly. In that saving box, there must be 43,000. You can spare that CJ meal for today and invest in MTN shares, and you find a seat at the table of MTN shareholders. Thank you very much.
Okay. Oscar?
I think, thank you, Susan, Christine, and Nicholas. I think for me, it is to encourage everyone to read. We are in an era where we expect everything to be simplified, which is okay. But for you to have an advantage, and to be able to make a decision that is very well informed, and then you so that you do not have the burden of having bought goats that give you a 300% return, or really just get informed, read as much as possible, interact with the brokers, they will give you information. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Nicholas?
Yes, thanks, Susan. I'm seeing a lot of questions raining in the chat. I don't know at what time we shall tackle them, but my would be, first, there is no small money. I'll give my experience with a client who first came and asked 12 questions when I was just starting the market. And my question to the client was, are you going to invest or you're doing research? So the questions were too many, but the person wanted to understand. So it's very good to have these webinars. There are questions we take for granted because we know, and the masses don't know. There is no small money. So this client started with small money, and later they brought in huge money. And then relating to the current situation in Uganda and in the world, we're all crying about fuel, the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, everything is, inflation is rising. Bring it home to this webinar. As things go up, the taxi driver will increase the taxi fares. Yeah, the food vendor will increase the prices. You as an individual, what are you going to increase to match, to ride with the tide? So if you buy shares in MTN, be sure MTN will find a way of transfer pricing the costs or changing the costs or the tariffs so that you are the shareholder also, your dividend will be adjusted. It means you ride with the tide. As the prices are going high, what are you selling? What are you increasing? Don't be on the receiving end. At least go into stocks in the market. These companies are very solid. They will know how to adjust their tariffs compared to the current economic situation. And your dividend will also be commensurately adjusted. In short, don't wait for paying bills. Be also someone who is adding bills to transfer the costs they are bringing on to you to someone else. That's all I would say.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. Indeed, yes, people are wondering how we get started in this market, and and yet it's easy. And then like Chimoli was saying even earlier, that the stall, the stalls have been broken, but the MTN stalls have not been what? Broken, isn't it? So the money is coming in and people are still generating. So I think what our panelists are saying, please diversify your risk. Make sure you also invested in companies like this, so that when imagine you're a person that maybe had your shares, just like Christine had shared, that you had your shares and maybe now this is a downtime, maybe things are not going well, then now you come in and cash in on some of those shares. And meanwhile, you don't have to sell everything. You can even just sell partial, just for the amount of money that you actually need to be able to exit. And then when you build back those savings, then you come back and buy your shares. There is free entry and exit. They do not say that Oscar, you've overbought shares, or they can never say that you're always going in and out of the market. That's why it's called a market. People should be able to come in and out at any time. And so what Chimuli is saying, that please be comfortable. The panelists are saying, please be comfortable, knowing that I have spread. Yes, I have unit trusts, I have shares, I have all these assets going on for me. I also have my side hustle that is going. So if my side hustle is not making money, I'm rest assured that there is money that is coming in from my what? From my other investments that I have, that I do not necessarily have to be there. So people are asking, what is the minimum number of shares that one can buy? It is 100 shares, the minimum, and already Christine already explained how that will be a for example, for MTN it will be a minimum of 43,000 that you're beginning with. Then can a foreigner buy shares? Definitely, as long as you have your passport and your national ID for your respective country, you're able to buy shares in Uganda. So you just like I said, you log on to that easy portal and you'll be able to take certain details of that passport or even the national ID that you have, upload your picture, and then you are able to get approved. You'll select a broker. The broker will be able to receive the details on their screen, and then they'll be able to review them, and you'll have your account open and you'll receive confirmation of that particular account opening, and then you can start your journey. The broker should be able to reach out to you with details of where you deposit the money for those that are outside the country. I've also seen that even sometimes when you have an MTN line and you're out of the country, you're still able to send money. So it's very, very, very possible. Then someone is asking that after the IPO, why is it hard to buy shares, especially Airtel? Chimuli, would you want to respond to that? That why is it hard to buy shares after an IPO?
Thank you, Susan.
Mm.
As brokers, of course, we are supposed to talk about the market generally. So, with due respect, Oscar, this was an MTN investor call, part of an MTN sponsored call, but I wasn't part of the lead. I was not the lead transaction, but I have the knowledge of what happened. Airtel was undersubscribed at the initial public offer. Under subscription means the shares they offered 8 billion to sell at IPO were not fully taken up. For reasons best known to the public and the investors, some didn't come in to take them at initial public offer. So it happened that only half of the offer, I think slightly 4 billion, was taken up. If 4 billion is taken up, the question is who took it up? Most of the participants in that transaction were institutional. So a few retail guys took part. Institutions usually like NSSF, this is public information because once you're listed, your shareholding is public. NSSF took almost half of the, more than 80% of the transaction, of what was taken up. Of the 10% that, 50% that was taken up at IPO, the biggest chunk was taken by NSSF. It never sells. The few high net worth who bought shares and they believed in Airtel also, the loaded rich guys, they never sell. Then the few retail.
Yes, Nicholas, I think.
Now it is at 130. So
Yeah.
They feel maybe the return is not yet enough to warrant selling back. So until Airtel comes back to sell the additional tranche of the offer, which is the additional 50%, then the scarcity will continue. The same happened with MTN. At IPO, people didn't believe, and there was another subscription at the IPO. But secondary offer, they came in and we got 400% over subscription, meaning we had like 2 billion shares and we got 4 billion applications. Even on the secondary market, that is why you are seeing the prices running, because those who didn't get the shares at IPO tend to come in to maximize on the secondary market. This is what I was telling people, is that don't come in when the price is at the peak. When you see prices are low, that is the best time
to Christine, someone is asking, Retro is asking, thank you, Nicholas. Retro is asking that is it, I think the question is, that is dollar cost averaging a relevant strategy for trading on the USE? That is what Retro is asking. Is dollar cost averaging a relevant strategy for trading on the USE?
Well, what I should mention, it's that is really a personal, it should be a personal idea. Let me give an example. Our market is in ordinary shares and in Uganda shillings. We do not buy shares in a different currency. So it's absolutely up to them what they actually need, the parameters they need to use against what they're investing on the USE, because it's just a local market in UGX. So I don't think so. It's really a personal desire. Yeah.
And also maybe just to also reiterate that all our investments on the USE are all UGX dominated. So even then, there is no way we are going to use the dollar, because everything is UGX, just like we also have for the government securities. So you'll be investing UGX, and also your returns will be brought back to you in UGX, Rachel. So I hope we have answered your question. Then someone is asking that is Winfred. She's asking that kindly answer how someone who bought shares via Momo will sell them. So if you bought shares via Momo, that means definitely also you will be able to sell them through via the Momo app option. So both the MTN Momo USSD code or app application has both a buy and sell leg. So for those who are able to buy, they're able to buy shares through Momo. Then also they can also be able to sell in turn and sell. So you choose the sell option, and then it will come up to you, and then you'll input the number of shares that you want to sell. So you may sell everything that you have in your portfolio, or you can sell partially what you want to buy. So for example, you say for my shares I just need 2 million Uganda shillings, so you're able to quickly convert after seeing the price that the platform is offering, and then you're able to convert quickly and know how many shares you're going to be able to sell. So you'll be able to do that on both legs. Yeah. So someone from Tanzania, they are saying that they want to also be able to buy shares in Uganda, and I'm quickly posting right now in the chat the dashboard details. That is for the easy portal, so that you can be able to go there and you're able to buy to open an account. That is someone from Tanzania. So I think someone is also asking, what is the maximum, and this is for you, Oscar, what is the maximum percentage of ownership an individual can have in any of the listed companies on the USE? Is there a limit? Yeah. Is there a maximum?
Interesting question to that, but I think the maximum depends on how much you really want to own. You can buy as much as you can, as long as you leave the required free float. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So what Oscar is reiterating there is that if there is 20% right now, Right now, MTN has given us up to 20% that we can play in as public investors. And so if you want to buy the entire 20%, please be buying every day, slowly by slowly, as you're buying. Every day you're buying out someone. The rest is held by, the other 80% is held by MTN Group. This is in the case of MTN. The rest, also the same explanation also goes to the rest, because the minimum requirement, at least for a company to list, at least they should list 20% of their total holdings that they do have. So as I quickly go through, right now I'm just about to hand over now to Sarah from the USE Academy. I just want to take, because most of the questions really have been answered. They more or less are the same, but I want to say thank you, a big thank you to Oscar, to Christina, and to Nicholas for coming onto the webinar and for sharing with us. And right now, as Sarah shares from the USC Academy, I'll be posting the links to the Easy portal, but also posting the details of our brokers that we have in the market, so that you're able to reach out to them, and also to post the details for the MTN investor relation services, in case you want to know more about MTN before you make this decision to invest. They are available to be able to respond. So thank you once again, and Sarah, over to you.
Thank you, Susan. Like Susan said, I am Sarah Mudahogora. I oversee the USC Academy at Uganda Securities Exchange. I would like to first of all appreciate Susan for moderating this so well. Our panelists, Christine, Nicholas, and Oscar, for deliberating so excellently. Thank you so much. And everyone on the call, thank you for being on the call. Thank you for being there actively. I've been seeing the chats, the questions. It's been a very beautiful audience. So we pray that you keep in touch, always be on the lookout for these webinars, because the USC Academy is not about to stop educating the masses, the public, and the stakeholders and the general public. So be on the lookout. I hope at the end of this we are able to tell our audience when our next webinar will be. And I would like to say that just in case you really need to maybe like get a certificate in capital markets related courses, you could actually register with the USC Academy to be able to like really learn and get a certificate in particular courses like introduction to capital markets, investment management. So the USC Academy has several courses besides the webinars that come free. You could also invest. You could also choose to invest in your education in the capital markets spaces, and become somehow more informed, because an informed investor is an empowered one. So at the USC Academy, we would like to empower you even further in terms of really giving you the courses that really top it up for the webinars that you keep attending.
Sarah, I think we have lost you a bit. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Sarah. We lost you at the tail end. But our sessions, Sarah is our manager for the USC Academy. I'll also be posting her details shortly in regards to her contact details for those that want to do a course at a certificated course at the Uganda Securities Exchange, specifically for the capital markets. That is training. People want to have more knowledge. People even want to start working in the markets, but then you want to start working in the markets, but you do not know or do not have the information list. You have that certificated course. You start at least, and then onwards, you can be able to reach out to any market player on how you can be able to be of service in the market. Our market actually is very small. There is a lot of opportunity. Like I earlier said, that we all worked at the same place at the same time, but now we are spread out. So you can imagine there is still demand and a hunger for practitioners in this particular field. So it would be very, very good that you come on board, receive the training that you need, and then, of course, definitely as you come for the training, also introduce you to some of the market participants. If there is opportunity in any of them, then you can be able to engage. Otherwise, I would want to beg us to stop here. It's coming to 11:30, and I do not want us to go past 11:30. I have posted on the chat the contacts for our brokers. They are ready to respond to any questions that you may have. And I just want to say thank you to our panelists again, and also to our listeners, and for coming and attending. Our next webinar will be on the 14th of May. So get ready for that, and we'll be releasing what that topic will be. We have been doing bonds, and now we have done equity. So we're going to be interchanging several topics. I have also noted in the chat section, there were those that were asking about how to best use the Easy Portal. So we'll also have a walkthrough training about the Easy Portal on how people actually can use the platform. So watch out for that particular webinar. We are going to definitely release it, and then we shall have our team of experts from the SCD and our IT team to be able to take us through how to best use the Easy Portal and also the USSD platforms that we do have, the technology we have at the Uganda Securities Exchange. So I want to thank you thank you for everyone for coming. And let me just quickly post, maybe John, if you could help me and post Sarah's contact in the chat section, because people are asking about how they can get started in market education and training at the USC Academy. I see Kennedy is asking those questions. Winfred, they really want to participate. So from here at the USE, we want to thank you for coming, and do you have yourself a good weekend that is starting today, because tomorrow is a public holiday. So do enjoy the public holiday and the long weekend. Thank you once again, and God bless you.